Should be the same first pick is the Azir. Poppy, I don't know if that was actually locked in. It was hovered. Okay, it was only hovered. So they don't have to have the Poppy. They go with the Ahri and the Vi combo. Now this combo, mid jungle, is the best way to make your mid laner look good because Vi ultimate just guarantees that you will be able to land your charm. You hold them in place, the charm lands, that person dies. This is we are killing one person, point and click, that person is for sure dead. So, all right, TSM, Spica, Maple here, locking it in. They've got the combo. Poppy is a great combo with Azir though, because Azir's soldiers act as a wall and you can Poppy charge them into the wall.
The fact that Azir was an option to begin with it not being banned, does change the overall dynamic of this draft, though we do see some similar pieces with that Vi coming back into the series. What do FlyQuest bring to keep her off of those single targets? Maybe something like a Poppy ultimate to go, yeet, get on out of here. She gets into that back line.
Finally, the Aatrox for Philip. This is what I wanted at the beginning of the series, the beginning of the day. He brings it out. Blind picks the Aatrox here in game 5 when all the pressure is on. The Ornn has also been let through. It is a self-counter pick for lane, but Solo has always said, I will do whatever the team needs. I don't care about myself. I don't care about my lane. I'll do whatever you need, team. And the team is telling him, we want Ornn item upgrades. We want that ult for the team fights. So Solo says, fine, I will sacrifice my lane. I'll do my best into the Aatrox.
And that is something that Solo very much has claimed for himself, being that fundamentally sound, risk-adverse player on this Ornn, where Philip, it's so intriguing to me to hear this young player talk about how he works well with the nerves and that pressure, which there are a lot of players like that. You talk about, showing up in playoffs or really feeding off the energy of a stage. But to say that something so early within your career and kind of show it in ways throughout different performances, you're looking at that exact mentality in game number 5. Rest of the bans on the block, though, no Draven. They knew Tactical was brought in for a pick like that, and Seraphine as well, making her way into this draft on the gray screen side.
All right, what's it gonna be, buddy? Game 5, everything on the line, and the Xayah is locked in. Xayah's pretty good counter dive, but there's not super heavy dive on FlyQuest. Rakan is available. They could get the duo here, set up Chime. His Rakan in the previous game was magnificent, I would say. Game-saving, I would say. So they are looking for the lovers duo unless FlyQuest split it apart intentionally.
Rakan is one of Chime's strongest, most consistent picks through and through.
They're going with the ED strat. Rely on that Jinx.
Yeet.
Jinx Tahm Kench to keep her safe. The Azir for the self-peel. And there's the other half of that duo.
It's been a bit of time since we've seen TK come through, but it feels like the last time when he was making his way through a lot of the drafts, we did see Aphromoo very oriented towards protecting that hyper carry.
Yeah, like it against the Vi, when Vi Ahri is looking to specifically target someone, delete one carry. Is some more safety for the side of FlyQuest. TSM with that Xayah Rakan duo lane bottom though. That is good early on. Good early lane phase. We shall see. Can Spica play off bottom triangle of the map? Solo gonna have his work. FlyQuest or TSM? Who gets to live in playoffs?
Let's get it, everybody. FlyQuest back over on this blue side. TSM on red. Standard positioning at the start. No early grouping for that intel. Let's see how they end up faring. So, what are the most important considerations that you think we should be looking at here in the early game?
It's all about execution. Game 5. Come down to composure when the pressure is on, when everything comes down to one single game. Some players will get shy. Some players don't want to make the mistake. They don't want to make the season-ending mistake for their team. But as you said, even others, some like Philip, even the young ones, thrive on that pressure. We'll see who is who in this game.
Minions have spawned.
Stoked to find out, especially with some of the different looks that we have. The Lovers bot lane for TSM. Johnsun on the Jinx, a pick that was running rampant for some time, though we've just seen other bot laners come into the meta. And the TK Jinx combo, very trusted when you want to take care of that immobile carry.
See if they can keep him safe. Maple, Spica as well. The Vi Ahri combination. We'll see about that combination. For the diving, they have been pretty strong together. The Silas Wukong in the previous game was basically the win condition, the comeback there for TSM, how they made it all happen. It wasn't even about AD carries at all. It was all about their play making with the engage. All right, early stages for these lane phases though. As we expect, Azir should be pushing in on the Ahri. Aatrox should always be pushing on the Ornn. Meanwhile, bottom lane, hard fighting here over the second wave. Second wave, first 3 melees, getting to the level 2. Looks like TSM giving up positioning on them. Chime does have both executions, 1 more Targon's left. Early experience though for FlyQuest. They've got the priority, TSM back off.
Yep, hitting that level 2 now because of that way that the bot lane was going down, and toucouille on this trusted Azir again. I mean, Azir Ahri matchup, we've seen it time and time again. In fact, it was the reversal of that in their last regular season game.
So 3 pushing lanes for FlyQuest.
And there have been games that they've won where it was just off of their laning prowess. They have done good jobs in the past of trying to avoid any of those attempted picks by their opposition, make sure that they trust in their ability to farm, to own these matchups, and be extremely consistent with it. And that's what they're looking to do here against TSM in Game 5.
Jose's going for the wraparound. He was seen by this ward walking into position for the dive on this big wave too.
Yep, wave is here. Jose going for it, but Tactical and Chime, they want to make sure that they don't give anything unnecessarily. As soon as they know that Jose is here, they back off, create as much distance between that bottom lane and themselves as possible.
I like the good communication on FlyQuest though. That plan was in place since Champion Select. Spica just did Wolves down to red quadrant clear. Here's that Vi Ahri combination. Does get some damage, but no summoner spell, so no benefit really gained.
Jose there for the counter.
They're going for the long chase though.
Over on
He's
the other side of the map. Maple tick on down. First blood for JoseDeodo and FlyQuest. They've got Spica in their sights as well. The multi-man advantage, 2 kills right at the start here for FlyQuest.
3 pushing lanes for FlyQuest, and they get the collapse. Philip comes down from top lane, hits the chain onto Spica as well, and FlyQuest rip apart TSM. 2 kills early on. First blood bonus, massive 1.2 thousand gold lead at only 4 minutes in from all of the CS lead, all the pushing lanes into the first 2 kills as well. Huge break here for FlyQuest in game number 5.
And a different look for them in the way that they're playing this, even when you're thinking of some of these picks being similar. For instance, when we saw Philip on the Aatrox in that game against Team Liquid, it was against an Olaf. He was bringing the Ignite. It was much more about that kill lane. Here has the teleport, had that attention from his own team early on to try and execute, then was able to teleport back after getting some additional inventory, so he can continue to push down onto solo in this matchup against the Ornn.
Yep, Philip feeling very good about himself. His sweet spot on his Q3 was close to getting that kill as well, even though it does go over to the hands of JoseDeodo and toucouille, getting those 2 kills on the long chase down. You would definitely like your Azir to grab these last hits, so don't feel bad about it at all. Doesn't need any extra money versus the Ornn in the Ornn matchup here, so things going super well for FlyQuest. All according to plan.
Yeah, Philip okay up there. A bit of a CS lead for toucouille in the mid lane. All of the laning that FlyQuest are looking to lean into, they continue to do so because Johnsun and Aphromoo also up on that bot side. Well, Philip knocked up and the Ornn horn sounds. But Philip, he's in the range of his turret. Not a lot of mana left on solo. Flashes out, was so afraid of the cube.
Yeah, that would have spelled doom for him. Philip gonna pull the wave and freeze it as well. Solo's gonna have to teleport back to the lane. Let's see how many minions die while he's going back for the teleport. Only a few here as Philip does thin it out a little bit, loses all 3 melees.
Nicely executed from Philip there and getting that ultimate out. So no flash, no TP, no ultimate for Solo. In the meantime, Philip still with his flash available, all except for JoseDeodo's flashes available on the FlyQuest side, but multiple expelled for TSM.
All right, junglers approaching the level 6s as well. Means a lot more for Vi than it does for Poppy. A couple more camps to clear up there on the top for the Vi, though. Gonna need for the second response to come through. Meanwhile, bottom lane does get shoved in. Both recalls, no problem here. No real bloodshed. Pretty even on CS as well.
Nope, the moment that Johnsun and Aphromoo were looking for a little bit of breath, a little bit of reprieve. We're past that 5-minute mark. Dragon up, but completely different comps and completely different style than we have seen in some of the games prior, where it really worked off of getting that bot pressure and then moving it towards that dragon. Right now, it's just Johnsun and Aphromoo wanting to farm up as much as possible, and FlyQuest trusting in where their laners are and what they are trying to achieve at this stage in the game.
Yep, slowly but surely. All right, toucouille gets handed off the blue buff for the Azir. This is where you want to put as much money as possible early on as you can. Cleans up the rest of the minions. Retains his CS lead here over Maple. Scales so nicely as the Azir. Got the early kill as well, so...
1.8 gold, K gold for FlyQuest because of that early kill pressure they were able to have, and putting that into a player like toucouille on the Azir is one great place to do so.
Vi's level 6 now, though. This is the combo we talked about in Champ Select. The guaranteed ultimate into hit on Charm. You can definitely kill anyone if they come for this Rift Herald fight. So Spica heads straight over to it. TSM just itching to use the Vi Ahri combination. They'll start up the Rift Herald, and FlyQuest will say, no deal, we will... Oh, actually, they're moving in here. They're calling up the bottom lane. They're moving over. Bottom lane runs all the way up, so TSM, they get off of it.
And they're starting it with the Ornn right now. Johnsun knocked up on the back end, but Aphromoo, the first one to get hit and blasted down. It's fairly early, or not quite yet. So TSM, they continue with that. They get the ult and the charm and more onto Johnsun. Elimination of the bot lane, slicing that gold lead in half, and TSM are back in this.
What is up with the FlyQuest communication right now? They had their bottom lane just roam up all the way into a freight train, right into the face. Aphromoo just gets cued there by the Vi, blown up, and then there's no Tahm Kench to save the the Jinx. My goodness, the bottom lane for FlyQuest just got ran over.
A bit of disorientation there, because if you're looking at TSM side, they seemed very collected in what the play that they were going for was.
So TSM, they pulled all the way off this Rift Herald, and Aatrox was in the river, but because TSM had been sweeping, it was all fog of war, and Aphromoo right up into the lane just gets run over. Great call from TSM to just get off that Rift Herald, but I think FlyQuest needed a little bit more vision and communication around the Rift Herald itself to say, hey, they are all off of this. They could engage on you in mid lane as you're rotating up. In the end, FlyQuest get the Rift Herald anyways, though, so it's actually not the most tragic of stories. Decent actually pay out there and kind of compromise.
Yeah, that's the consolation prize for them, that, you know, they can be able to drop that down to try and create some of the pressure in one of these lanes, extend the farming capability for themselves. But even with that being the case, when you get an objective in that fashion, where it's not necessarily off of you making that play, there's still something to be said on visiting it and making sure that you're all collected in your game plan coming into these next altercations against TSM, who feel like they're very clear. They want to go for the spot play. They get some knock up on the Aphromoo, but he was a TK after all.
Kench, yeah, can he heal that one right back up? Meanwhile, Dragon, the next target here for FlyQuest. Jose cruising on down.
Spica here starting to sweep away. Some of these early wards that were acquired were in FlyQuest favor, but the rotation from TSM says that they do want to try and contest to some degree. So Philip has his teleport if needed. We're not in unleashed territory yet. but TSM taking their time around this objective, starting it up. And toucouille and JoseDeodo, though, getting this push over in the mid lane. That's an area from which they can start to draw their own pressure after pushing up that wave. They do have to be wary. Maple does have the ultimate available to join the rest if needed.
Oh, they are split. Look at this. FlyQuest 2 and 2 here. Split on the fight. It's 4v4.
Vi's channeling up and over the wall. They'll get the knock up and more, and the charm to follow on JoseDeodo, who even tried to flash to survive. He saw the bot lane coming, but couldn't put himself into their warm embrace. Instead, falls into his own grave. TSM on the dragon for now. Little bit of poke from Johnsun over the wall, but this is their objective to claim here at 11:45. It's the first straight takedown.
Yeah, they saw Spica had no smite, so trying to throw some spells in there to get a lucky steal, but good body blocking by TSM. Once again, the pick champions, the Vi and the Ahri, paying dividends in game number 5 when all the pressure is on. We talked about composure on stage, staying focused, playing clearly here, and FlyQuest just getting annihilated by the TSM objective setups. Second time in a row, TSM set up on the objective, FlyQuest come over in a split manner. Exact same scenario. There's 2 people coming down from mid lane, 2 people coming up from mid, and TSM just turn on one of those sectioned off set of 2. Vi right over the wall. Spica, really great leadership from him. He's showing no hesitation. And Maple right behind him. They follow up, they get their kill, they get their pick, they get their objective.
And Vi is a great champion for someone that is looking to make those calls and be a leader of the team, because you can be very clear in exactly who you're trying to target and call the attention from your teammates to make sure that they're isolated and as locked down as possible. And for FlyQuest, this is kind of part of what we've been witnessing in their matches, where when they're on and they're on the same page, they can sometimes look unstoppable, everybody within their own strength. But then when you have these moments that it almost feels like that carryover from game 4, where you get a little bit of that disoriented feel, a little bit of off on your rotations and timing, and then TSM, as long as they're willing to punish it, they will. And that's what they have been doing.
Ult for ult trade here in a mid lane. Maple gets out just in time. Still gets the turret plate as well, so W for him.
Despite a couple altercations, though, overall a fairly quiet game, something that FlyQuest had wanted with the way they wanted to navigate this. This is that Rift Herald that they were able to pop up before, throw it down towards mid. The tried and true, Poppy channeling it up, just wants to make sure that TSM don't prevent the crash here. They can get some of these plates off of it.
They get their expected 2 out of it. Teleport back from Maple as the invade from FlyQuest is in effect.
They're here. Lots of control wards for TSM, though, that are about to get sought out by FlyQuest. Effectively, Johnsun and Aphromoo rotated up towards this top side with Tactical and Chime here to match. Again, within this series, seeing those solo laners dropped over down towards bot for their farming. And try to push this up. They've been putting those wards more deeply into that red side jungle territory so that FlyQuest can get some intel where Spica is coming from. Isolating him and figuring out who he's going to hop on next is so important for them.
Yeah, TSM have just had way better engages. Philip here trying to get his own red buff, and Spica coming yoink it from him. TY for leash, buddy.
Takes that away, so Phil can just go back to hanging out with Solo. A little bit of a pop-in from Spica, and he walks away with his party prize. So Phil trying to keep things fairly stable here.
toucouille still richest person in the game. That is Azir still benefiting from those early level ganks. The chase through where Jose came through, and they had the rundown from Philip pushing up his lane. Still kind of snowballing it. CS very slightly increasing the lead here for toucouille, trying to take his own blue buff, but getting run out by the TSM invade. Spica now invading back-to-back buffs. So he invades the red buff, steals it away, invades this blue buff here, gonna get both FlyQuest buffs. As far as the calm mid games, he's getting the smaller objectives for the team, but continues stacking them up. I think the biggest weapon and benefit that TSM have had in the last 2 games, what led to their win in the last one as well, is the better engage, the better force on these fights. TSM keep drafting these hard engaged champions, the Wukong, the Vi, the Rakan, and they do not hesitate on pulling the trigger.
And making sure
Oh,
we do
teleport.
have
They're going
coming
for
in.
it.
They do have to be very wary of this collapse from Philip. He won't be seen until he's
5v4.
too close to be doing something about it. The responsive teleport coming in over from the mid side. Charm onto Philip. Spica marked down low. Isolation onto Tactical, who has to flash out of the pit. Do FlyQuest decide to continue up? Philip, with his World Ender activated, gets charmed up. A little bit of a knock-up. Ornn Horn coming on through. Knock-up onto Aphromoo, who had Philip with the Devour, kept him safe. And everyone's safe after that one so far. No lives lost.
Yeah, pretty dangerous little attempt right there, but they do get out alive. Teleports used for both of the top laners to join, and Dragon's gonna pop up right afterwards too, so neutral objective number 2 will be started up as well.
Much slower Dragon takes than any of the other games within this series thus far. So we're at the 17-minute mark, and it's still only that initial one acquired. TSM officially ending the gold lead of FlyQuest.
All right, let's take another look at the fight, and FlyQuest got a nice, good 4 seconds worth of 5v4 action. And even though Tactical is able to hit the eyeball on the back of the Herald, so TSM did get the 300 gold for killing Rift Herald because Tactical hit it. But yeah, observers, thank you. The eyeball was left on the ground because Jose actually charged him away from it. Maple looks like he's gonna live here if he doesn't mess around.
Good movement.
Nice little S stop at the end too. But yeah, so Jose did a nice little tackle there on Poppy on Tactical because Tactical hit the eyeball for the Herald and got the kill on it, but wasn't able to then pick up the eyeball because Poppy tackled him away from it and he had to escape over the wall. So 300 gold acquire, but no extra Herald, no pushing power, and in the end, Dragon picked up on the other side.
Oh, Philip alone. Tower about to go down, and that was his goal ultimately. So collapsed upon by TSM. They claim this kill. Another hit will do it. Tactical with the kill credit. But they take down 2 turrets in favor of FlyQuest on that top side and mid because of that pressure that was drawn.
Traded over here. TSM gonna answer it right back as Jose comes through, and the gold lead whittles down to barely over 500 gold advantage in the favor of FlyQuest. Dragons were tied up in the last exchange as well as we head towards this mid game. Level 13 for Solo on that Ornn, so he's gonna look at his teammates next level, start upgrading their items. Tactical first in line. You should almost always upgrade your AD carry item first. As Ornn, it is more efficient.
Says he wants his own.
I mean, you can only upgrade your own on
I
level
know.
13. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
14 is where you get
I
the
was
head
trying to make a
spout.
joke, and then I couldn't find the rest of the setup from it, so here we are. But anyways, Ornn does like to be a little selfish off of the top. So FlyQuest, though, I mean, it's really been, there's a lot of little swiggles over that gold line, kind of just pulling back and forth between FlyQuest and TSM. As quietly some objectives taken. Philip always a target as of late, pulls back Tactical, which ushers in the attendance of Chime. So just a little bit of action here or there across the map. FlyQuest have been working hard to keep up their eyes over on this top side. They'd taken down that turret prior, but it was answered by TSM. So see what FlyQuest can do from here.
Well, they've got vision set up here around Baron. Aphromoo doing the work on the invade as they push in on top side, trying to set up for the Baron bait. Azir very close to this death cap. Once they get that completed on toucouille, they'll have so much DPS for these fights. Can actually get through the Ornn, and they get the sneak attack.
Oh, into the back by going for toucouille. There is a teleport coming through from Philip, but there's already been a live loss for TSM.
Oh, ejected!
So the 2 chunked away from Poppy here. Maple flashes over.
Whoa.
The response from Aphromoo. He was trying to get that Q hit, but couldn't quite do it. FlyQuest, they take out the jungler.
Yeah, that's huge. They've got control over Baron with the Baron vision. They take out the jungler. If they got that last chase down kill onto Maple, could have been able to turn it. Here goes Aphromoo again with the Abyssal Voyage. Nice little dodge here from Tactical. It keeps him safe, though.
Still alive in this one. The name of the game in some of these is just singular picks. And FlyQuest, you see that death cap coming through for toucouille, so another spike available to him, bounty on his head. He had been given a lot of time to farm, to bring some of that action towards mid, to take down that turret, and wanting to be that late game threat and get some of those good divides to be able to usher through a victory for FlyQuest if he has anything to say about it.
Well, the Death Cap King himself gonna have something to say about it for sure. Double buffs on top of how fed toucouille is. Gonna be critical, the positioning to watch, because he no longer has the flash. No flash Azir. We're gonna see another attempt at his life there next time around from Spica. Big benefits there for FlyQuest with their vision play and finding the surprise kill. Gotta check though, this cooldown for Aphromoo's Tahm Kench ultimate. The extra safety, FlyQuest trying to team fight around.
Always hovering by Johnsun. He's used it in the past with Philip when need be. Always great at getting those targets. But right now, 35 seconds on the clock before this next dragon spawns, and JoseDeodo choosing to come for the fight now. But tactical, a little push to the wayside, but nothing yet for FlyQuest to be able to fully follow up on Maples. Looking for an angle here on the Ahri. Does have the ultimate, does have more Call of the Forge God, seeing what they can get the knockup on. Spica, though, effectively brought out of the fight. Again, some stuns here into the backline, and Chime, he wants to go for the battle dance, but toucouille, see, he's so strong. He got that spike before, and he's going for more. Solo also backed off. FlyQuest, they've eliminated 2 here ahead of this dragon objective, but they're pinging over at the top side.
Yeah, toucouille does so much damage, and they actually engaged on the Poppy. Everything from TSM there used early on this Poppy, and Azir, Jinx are just melting them from the backline. FlyQuest chase TSM off. They're starting up the Baron. There's no hope at a jungle steal, but maybe they could pull out some miracles. Maple fishing around. He's got a Banshee's Veil. He's actually flanked upon by Jose.
Oh, they're ready to turn if needed. Philip takes the brunt of that. A charm onto JoseDeodo ends his life, but they get the Baron in the meantime. They will gladly sacrifice the jungle for that purple paint.
FlyQuest with Baron. They can get their recalls off. TSM need to grab this dragon quickly, though, off of the Rift. That should be their payment for the Baron-empowered push FlyQuest are about to bring out. Here's another look at how it starts, though. And Spica goes right in. He ults in onto Jose. Solo's able to get the ultimate. Oh, no, he got interrupted with the Poppy W. It was the edge of the Poppy W. Solo got interrupted there. And then they just completely get wiped, run right back. So all of the engage just gets stuffed. Vi ultimate there onto the Poppy, and then Ornn ultimate just at the edge of the Poppy W. Stepped a little bit too far towards it.
And that, because of that, FlyQuest able to get the Baron after, but in that time, TSM did grab that second trait for themselves. I mean, even though that gold lead starting to mount for FlyQuest, is still the pressure being felt on both sides. This is game number 5 between FlyQuest and TSM. And TSM need to remember those moments of being able to lock down and, hey, got a little interrupted there, but next time if it works out for them, then they can feel okay about it.
Jose, the combo breaker. Poppy's best job. Try and break up these engages. Rakan flank has been so good for Chime, for TSM throughout this series. And they're gonna need a big one right about now. FlyQuest pushing in with their Baron buff. toucouille so strong on this Azir, gets the minions all the way up to the tower. Baron empowered minions doing some damage, wearing away at it.
Right over here towards top, Philip does have that teleport available to come to the party if needed. You got them minions hitting on the turret through and through, but you can see the collapse upon Philip, kind of that rotation caught out in TSM. They don't want to allow the teams to rejoin with one another. They know that they're going to say goodbye to that tier 2 and don't give any lives in the process. A lot of patience on both sides at this point, right? FlyQuest, they know that they have this wave pushing in their favor. There's no reason to dive past the line of intent so they can take this tier 2 down. Chime looking for the angle, though. They have the intel on side of FlyQuest, and they threw down with a Call of the Forge God. A lot of damage right at the top. A charm onto JoseDeodo. The majority of TSM have been grouped up, though, because you do have those gap closers. and they didn't want to continue to push on forward despite getting some heavy chunks on the JoseDeodo and the rest.
That Tahm Kench ult will save so many lives. Spica once again says, thanks for the leash, Philip, ×2. Remember the last red buff you pulled for me? Thank you very much. Gets his own blue smited away, but critically still denies it from the mid laner. Of course, they're not able to hand it off. TSM with the Ornn items upgraded for both carries now. Looking to try and pull this one out. They've got 2 dragon lead. FlyQuest still have the 3.8 thousand gold lead to their names. Really manifesting in a lot of these Azir items. Azir's full completed 3 items with the Void Staff and a stopwatch, critical for the next team fight.
What do you...
He can keep himself upright and keep on DPSing.
Now, with that being considered, that toucouille is looking pretty powerful. Stopwatch and all within his inventory. Gold lead for FlyQuest, but those dragons stacking for TSM. What do you make of their chances? How are you feeling about both of these teams' opportunity to close out this game?
I think they might actually just try and pick somebody off, focus them away from the rest of the team, because FlyQuest, they've been so robust here. It's hard to actually burst someone when they're grouped around Aphromoo with his Tahm Kench ultimate. TSM, they're calling for that split solo there on the Ornn. Is up to the secondary tower. Splitting while FlyQuest are pushing up. He's getting some work done. He's a tank, but he's still getting that tower down.
He's pushing it out, wanting to get some kind of advantage for
it's slow
TSM
work,
here.
but it's honest work.
You know, it's such a big hammer that only hits so hard for Ornn. He's a pretty brutish looking dude, but eventually gets it on down. So FlyQuest, they have that knowledge though, and because of that tier 2 going down, it gives Solo that agency to rejoin the rest of the team. Aatrox was pulled towards that side. So now preemptively, JoseDeodo, he doesn't want to get collapsed upon, and Solo is here to do just that. Teleport coming in for FlyQuest side. The ultimate directly onto Chime, who has to go into stasis after getting on the battle dance and the rest of the team, but he have 2 casts from it, so he can create even more distance. Double knock on members of FlyQuest, and one of them was Johnsun. He even got exhausted before he goes down. The collapse onto Aphromoo. Tactical way into the back. Should be able to slide on through. Featherstorm drop down. Doesn't even have to recall it just yet. Kills him all on his own. 3 taken down for FlyQuest. TSM, they pull out big in the fight.
Holy, TSM pulled it back. It's game 5, baby, and they don't want to give up. TSM, their lives and playoffs depend on it. Their season depends on it. And when it all matters, they make the play. What a pick. And it's going to be death timers longer than the dragon respawn. So TSM should be able to get 3rd dragon during this replay too. If they get right back out to the dragon spawn, that will be Dragon Soul points. So Aphromoo denies the Vi ultimate onto Johnsun, but Jose is the sacrifice during it. Then you think toucouille's got this great disengage. They can burst Chime, but he makes a huge play. Chime right over the top of the wall, escapes back to the team. Aphromoo tries to chase with the Abyssal Voyage, and it is Solo with the big Ornn knockup. He finds Johnsun, he gets the double knockup, and TSM take over. Tactical flashing into melee range of the Aatrox to finish him off.
Solo, the spotlight under which all the carries can shine, because the way he sets them up to knock it down on the stage.
And my boy Chime, my goodness, right over the top of the Azir wall, gets the engage after getting the Azir wall cooldown out, and escapes with his life with that battle dance. Actually crazy stuff there.
That's so nice, because of the double charges, you can actually pass so much distance as long as you have your teammates there. And the follow-up, see if TSM want to do anything else with this. JoseDeodo going on through FlyQuest. They're on the pursuit, and they have the teleport behind them, so this tells them they have to back off. One knocked away. Solo no longer in the vicinity because Poppy has something to say about it. Spica marked fairly low, but Chime again exiting the fray that FlyQuest are bringing to them.
Yeah, Baron is up too. They can try and force on Baron. Spica's so low. I can't believe he lived after Vi ulting in with only 250 HP, but he does as the Poppy ejection, and there's no DPS on him. He's going back to base. He heals up there on the Baron. They're trying to bait him over.
Oh, FlyQuest starting it up. TSM surrounding them. Philip, he's zoning off Solo and Maple. Solo being such a heavy engage, but he doesn't have the ultimate available for him for the rest rest of TSM. FlyQuest continuing to push through. They can't commit to that Baron right then.
This is as close as it gets. Game 5, elimination match, lower bracket, and this game is standing on pins and needles right now. They pull off the Baron. TSM chase them off. So close. This is the closest series that we have had for sure.
Bounties galore. Yep. That goal lead in past games having exploded at the point past 30 minutes. In this case, though, a lot less to be factored in with the way these teams are playing, the way they are working into their individual advantages. But off of that, the next time we get into the fight, we said it, Solo has been so big. He has all of his resources now, including the Flash, including that Call of the Forge God. Spica also at the ready to isolate any of the targets in the back. We still have some time before those engages happen, but it shows how crucial it is on these players to be able to set up the rest of the team.
All comes down to making the big play now. It's just pressure, single play here. Who's going to win the game on execution? Vision around Baron setup already laid for TSM. The prep work, the groundwork, those fundamentals are laid. Vision all over this river, through their red quadrant as well. Dragon, 2 minutes and 12 seconds on the timer for the arrival of this soul. Very curious to see. TSM making pings now that they're actually going to play around with and force on Baron in these 2 minutes. What you should be thinking about in the 2 minutes leading up to the soul fight is, which flashes can I blow? Can I trade ultimates just for flashes? You know, this Azir flash, namely, would be huge if they could get the cooldowns without fully committing.
And with that time, TSM was trying to draw some attention towards the Baron side. FlyQuest push through. They get that Azir turret on mid. They're ready to collapse. You can feel the energy. You can feel it when you see all the teams grouped up like this. Who's going to make the first move? So much of that warding in the favor of TSM
Time with the long flank gets found out by Philip.
Oh, so much commitment to get there.
But Philip now got to be careful. Vi engage is very real. Oh my God, they're doing the ring around the Rosie up here on the red buff. Philip gets away from the Vi engage for now.
Who's gonna get caught around? There's a charm and a root onto JoseDeodo because some members of TSM in the Riverside, some of and Johnsun, he is alone in the lane, has to flash under the Azir turret. Now the rest of FlyQuest have come on through. A slight slow onto Chime. Quite a bit of damage from the Jinx on the output of those autos. But still, you have that maneuverability to get over the walls. And the collapse from TSM, they've had Solo and Maple grouped together for so long so they can initiate if needed. Not able to connect with the charm onto Philip. That's what Maple was looking for. And once it doesn't, you regroup as a team.
They're still fishing around, looking for those angles. Vi recall interrupted. Back into the fog of war, though. FlyQuest have no vision. Their bottom lane pushed up to the inhibitor turret. It doesn't matter. They used this timer, this recall timer of TSM, to get into Baron, clear out some of this Baron vision.
Oh, Kobe, it's so tense. I feel like it's Halloween already and you look in the shadows and it's so scary.
And our main thing we were looking for in those moments leading up to this dragon, what are the cooldowns that they can burn before it comes up? They burn the Vi flash. And guess what? Spica's ult is back and ready. So even though they didn't get the kill onto Johnsun with that wraparound, they got what they came for. The cooldown that won't be up for this Dragon Soul fight.
Oh, here we go. Solo, Call the Forge God, doesn't end up hitting the follow-up here. A lot of tempered movement on both sides. FlyQuest, oh, but look at the burst down. They lock him down. They get that pick onto Aphromoo. That's a go button for TSM. A knock-up to follow up. They take down toucouille. TSM are rolling over this fight. Philip with World Ender in the center of them all. But the dish back is actually pretty good. Tactical has to be careful. JoseDeodo also on the outskirts. Philip hitting that stopwatch, going in stasis. Johnsun, he's pulling in the autos into Solo, but he flashes over the wall. Spica, the next one to potentially fall, but they put the kill onto Johnsun. So much of that damage is out of it. 3 for 1 so far in TSM's favor. My goodness, so much to lead up to that fight. And the Soul point, that is it. Soul now being able to achieve for TSM. What a play.
They instantly blow up the Tahm Kench. House of the Dragon Soul claimed by TSM. They retake control. They burst down Aphromoo. They instantly flash on toucouille as well. The super fed Azir gets point blank Vi ulted, now turning their sights towards this Baron. FlyQuest have respawned though. Toucouille's got an unleashed teleport. The Azir could arrive too. TSM, this is so dangerous. Spica's so low.
He is. toucouille's here. Ornn again. Can Solo get the knock-off? Spica's on the outside of the pit. Can it go for it? But Solo and the rest of the team, they're zoning them off so much. FlyQuest can't get in. One of them gets charmed. Philip on the outskirts again. Aphromoo is still so high and blasted on down. JoseDeodo eliminated. 2 down. The Embers to fight away from toucouille. But TSM again. 3 for 1.
They just take this game out of FlyQuest. Cold, dead hands. My goodness, the spellbook smite from Maple. The Ahri finishes the Baron solo inside the pit while the fight is going on, and now the final push.
TSM, ever since the fight around 30, able to push through. They are donning purple. They are getting turrets. They are in control of this game now.
My goodness, what a crazy Baron fight. Maple with a spellbook smite inside the pit finishes it off. Here's a look at the earlier one. There was no Poppy W involved in this one. That was just a straight face plant into the wall. It's funny we're going this far back. The observers really wanted to get that troll onto Solo, but this is the fight that got them to the Baron setup. And there was a lot of damage done here from Johnsun and Philip. Philip was a massive frontline. Jumped in on the Aatrox with that Gore Drinker healing. Bought a lot of space, a lot of damage for Johnsun to make it pretty close. And this is why they got Spica so low, or how they got him so low. The heal from Tactical came in there at the very last second too to heal him back up. But this is the crazy part. They immediately went over to Baron, and then as FlyQuest are all respawning, Jose is alive. Jose is there. The Poppy is in. Solo ults them inside, but then they're focusing on the team fight. And so Poppy's outside the pit, and it's just Maple in there with the Spellbook Smite. His true damage pullback on his Q and his Spellbook. They get it. They chase off the rest of the members of FlyQuest. They took him down, and they win the fight on top of getting the Baron. What a crazy game 5. It's so insane here. TSM have crawled back in this one, despite the early lead from FlyQuest. 5,000 the gold lead, and even 6,000 now with the Dragon Soul at the doorsteps wearing Baron.
It's absolutely gnarly, Kobe, the way that TSM were able to make this look very different than it did in the first portion of the game, where FlyQuest were so eager to lie themselves in lane, get up that farm, but TSM in these fights really coming through strong. They've been doing the classic Baron play right now, pushing these waves towards the bot side as well as mid. FlyQuest on a lot of duty to try and hold off the onslaught, but look at that damage onto the turret. They're opening this through. They get the inhibitor on the follow-up, and TSM, they know when it's time to commit and when not to, and right now it's that steady pushing of their advantage.
Maple getting the bottom lane, pushing, prepping it for the rest of the team as they take the middle inhibitor. Still plenty of time left here with the power. The Ornn ult comes through.
Going for it.
Jose?
Targeted towards the bot lane, and the charm onto Jose, but he's able to disengage from it. All the while, though, TSM, again, okay with accruing these objectives. They take down the turret down on the bot side. They've already cracked into that inhibitor. I like them looking for those angles from people like Solo so they can try and collapse, but at the same time, knowing when it's okay to back.
Yeah, wait for that Ornn ultimate to come back up here for TSM before you recommit super hard. This game 5 has been so back and forth. The series has been so back and forth. It's so tense right now. TSM with a massive, massive lead, but FlyQuest still have hope.
It's devastating for one team no matter which way the W ends up falling. FlyQuest here, after falling to the lower bracket, facing off against TSM. TSM wanting to prove that they are more than that 7th seed finish, that they have been putting in the work in the 2 weeks prior to this series, prepping for FlyQuest. We'll see if they can make that stand. There's a charm onto Philip, and the follow-up knock-up as well. Azir turret still buying some time over on this bot side.
Whew. The wear and tear on this FlyQuest base has been felt, but they kept their bottom inhibitor alive. With that bottom inhibitor staying up, the hope for FlyQuest also stays alive. They've got the Emperor, they've got the Azir. toucouille is still very fed for them. He is their hope. See what they can do. Johnsun as well on this Jinx, not to be scoffed at. 4 item power spike here. Has his stopwatch for the team fight as well, in addition to the Tahm Kench. But Tactical is the real pumper. Full item build with the Ornn upgrade on this Xayah. 0 deaths for him. Subbing in on the playoff stage.
A different pool that he's brought through. TSM, hefty gold lead, hefty builds. But yes, FlyQuest, with that pointing out of toucouille and some of the power that they still have, if you get a great angle at this point in the game, we're past 40 minutes, right? There's still hope, Gobi, there's still hope.
How are they going to kill Tactical, though? Flash, plus the Gale Force, plus the heal, plus the ultimate, all ready for Tactical. This Xayah, who's been flashing forward into melee range of Aatrox to kill him off, also has the Cloud Dragon extra move speed to kite with.
You saw that channeling coming through from Spica, and the answer is good. Knocking over the wall, JoseDeodo marked down low. Chime out of stasis, and the Poppy ultimate onto Solo again. And Chime, he's the subject of toucouille right now, but the rest of the team is here to follow up. Maple on the outskirts flashes after hitting his own Zonias here. And Aphromoo spitting out Johnsun. Can he do enough? No. TSM, they answer it back onto FlyQuest. They kill every single one of the green side of this team. TSM clip the wings of FlyQuest, overcoming the first hurdle of their lower bracket run.
Wow, box diff. Honestly though, TSM, what a hard fought series. Making the mid-series substitution, bringing in Tactical. Giant performance from him in the final game on the Xayah. Deathless Xayah, 11 kills, full items. Sold his boots even for the full 6 DPS item build. And TSM needed every last little bit of it. To get to this point though, big contributions from all the members. Solo's Gnar, huge Gnar ultimates to get them here. Maple, especially the Silas game. Spica with multiple games with giant setup. And TSM will move on, their playoff hopes still alive. The journey continues, the season continues.
It's always such a different feel when you're looking at one of the teams that starts in the lower bracket. They get no excuses. They get no moments of reprieve, no redo if you mess it up once. And it's so important here at the start to get that footing, and that's what TSM were able to achieve and set the bar right for all the fans cheering them on.
Emotion on the side of FlyQuest. The season ends here. What a journey. Jose, that massive Wukong game you can look back on. Very, very strong carry performance there. Well fought. But in the end, TSM are victorious. How does Solo always do it?
I know.
Joining at the last moment, bringing the team through. Triumphing over his old squad, over his old team, FlyQuest.
Bringing in that veterancy. A new hairstyle every time he makes his way back onto the stage. But the same player below it all. And this was going to be a heartbreaker either way, right? You have TSM that have been persevering. Not as much time with this roster as others, even making a switch midway through the series, and you wonder, what are they going to come through with? And on the opposite side, you've got FlyQuest, which a lot of fans had gathered under them and the push they've made through, but it ends their run here. And I think there's still a lot that you can say about the run that they've made, though, all the way until the end, fighting it out in a Game 5.
Yeah, definitely. That series was so close. Could have gone either way, down to the last minutes of the final game here, game number 5. Honestly, yeah, that was definitely very back and forth. TSM, they pulled it out though. Long stage games like this, long series prepare you for a hard-fought playoff run. Very curious to see, how long they can extend this, how much hope, how much drive this, instills in the rest of these TSM members. And for FlyQuest, they celebrate the season that they had. It is over now, but definitely a lot of effort put in and well rewarded.
FlyQuest, much to be proud of on their side. And then TSM, I mean, looking at the way they played, and it makes me think of the fact that we've pointed out a lot of the individual plays from them, right? There were standout contributions from all of them. And when thinking about what Spica said in some of the TSM content, for instance, feeling that they had a lot of individual mistakes that they needed to fix, and they couldn't work on the team stuff until that happened. So when you look back and you think, all right, you had some good individual play here, you did as well, that opens up what they can work on going through to make sure they continue their run.
Time to bring it all together now, because playoffs only gets more difficult from here. Lower bracket, it's already starting on the back foot, and now they're going to have to punch through these higher seeded teams for the rest of the journey. Exciting stuff. Tomorrow as well, we're bringing in CLG and Golden Guardians, another banger series.
It's been a very exciting summer split for a lot